Welcome to Just One Quiz. Simple questions, solid facts. Let's get into it. Want more history you can actually follow? Subscribe and stay curious. From the first invasion in 1939 to the final surrender in 1945, we EuroLL explore key events, leaders, and turning points. Here's how it works. 30 questions, 10 seconds to answer, 1 point each. Get ready. One war, many questions, one answer at a time. What was the name of the quiet phase before Germany invaded France? From September 1939 to May 1940, Britain and France did not launch major offensives against Germany. This passive phase is known as the phony war. Quote, which operation helped Allied troops escape at Dunkirk in 1940? Operation Dynamo enabled the evacuation of over 340,000 mostly British and French troops from Dunkirk. A military and logistical miracle that rescued Britain's army and saved national morale. What major political decision did the French government make after its military defeat in June 1940? On June 22, 1940, France signed an armistice with Germany, ending the Battle of France. This marked the beginning of German occupation and the Vichy regime. Which country stood alone against Nazi Germany after the fall of France in 1940? Following France's surrender, the United Kingdom remained the only major European power still resisting Hitler, especially during the Battle of Britain in 1940. What type of weapon did Germany use extensively to disrupt Allied supply lines in the Atlantic? German submarines, or U-boats, targeted Allied convoys in the Battle of the Atlantic, one of the longest and most crucial campaigns of the war. What was the name of the operation marking Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941? Launched on June 22, 1941, Operation Barbarossa launched the largest land invasion in history, unleashing brutal fighting on the Eastern Front. What event triggered the United States' entry into World War II? On December 7, 1941, Japan attacked the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor. The United States declared war the following day. Which country was the center of decisive fighting between Axis and Allied forces in 1942? In Egypt, the Second Battle of El Alamein marked a major Allied victory. British forces stopped Rommel's advance at El Alamein, turning the tide in North Africa. Which Axis country switched sides and joined the Allies in 1943? After Mussolini was deposed in July 1943, Italy signed an armistice with the Allies. German forces then occupied large parts of the country. What key event in 1942-1943 marked the first major defeat of the German army? The Battle of Stalingrad, from summer 1942 to February 1943, was a turning point. Stalingrad marked Germany's first major defeat, and the start of its long retreat on the Eastern Front. Which major Soviet military operation was launched in June 1944? Operation Bagration allowed the USSR to liberate Belarus and inflict a crushing defeat on the German army on the Eastern Front. What was the code name for the Allied landings on June 6, 1944? Overlord refers to the overall operation for the Normandy landings. Neptune was the naval component of D-Day. Which general led Allied forces during the Normandy landings? General Dwight D. Eisenhower commanded Operation Overlord, the largest amphibious invasion in military history. What key objective did the Allies aim to secure after the Normandy landings? The Battle of Caen lasted several weeks. Securing the city was crucial to breaking German resistance and advancing toward Paris. Which French army unit helped liberate Paris in August 1944? Leclerc's 2nd Armored Division entered Paris on August 25, 1944, with support from the local resistance uprising. Which Soviet marshal led the Red Army to the capture of Berlin? Marshal Georgy Zhukov commanded the final Soviet offensives, including the storming of Berlin in May 1945. Which Axis power surrendered on May 8, 1945, marking the end of the war in Europe? Germany's unconditional surrender on May 8, 1945, ended the war in Europe, celebrated as Victory in Europe Day. Which general symbolizes the U.S. war effort in the Pacific? General Douglas MacArthur led U.S. and Allied forces in the Southwest Pacific and oversaw Japan's surrender. What was the name of the U.S. program that developed the atomic bomb? The Manhattan Project began in 1939 and led to the first use of nuclear weapons in 1945. What event led Japan to surrender in August 1945? The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki on August 6 and 9, 1945, pushed Japan to surrender on August 15. When did World War II officially end worldwide? Japan's formal surrender was signed on September 2, 1945, marking the official end of World War II. What was the largest Nazi concentration and extermination camp built during the war? Located in occupied Poland, Auschwitz was the largest Nazi camp, with dozens of subcamps and large-scale extermination facilities. Which country suffered the highest number of casualties during World War II? The The Soviet Union lost about 27 million people, both civilians and soldiers, the highest toll of any nation during the war. Which conference brought together the Big Three to shape the post-war world? At Yalta in February 1945, Roosevelt, Churchill and Stalin redrew Europe's borders and laid the groundwork for the Cold War. Which international organization was founded in 1945 to prevent future global conflicts? The United Nations was founded in San Francisco in 1945 to promote peace and international cooperation after the war. Which historical trial judged the main Nazi leaders after the war? Held from 1945 to 1946, the Nuremberg trials set new standards in international law by prosecuting war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. Which conference set Germany's post-war borders and administration? At Potsdam, July-August 1945, the Allies reshaped Germany, planned its demilitarization, and confirmed their commitment to prosecuting Nazi leaders. Which U.S. initiative aimed to recruit German scientists after the war? Operation Paperclip secretly recruited German scientists, including Werner von Braun, to advance U.S. technology and space programs. Which figure symbolized Free France during World War II? From London, de Gaulle rejected France's surrender and launched the June 18 appeal, becoming the leader of the Free French movement. What major event took place in the Middle East in 1948 in the post-war context? In 1948, the State of Israel was proclaimed, following the UN's 1947 partition plan. The region was already marked by high tensions. Well done! Understanding this war means understanding the world we live in. Found this helpful? Share it. History matters more when it's remembered. Which part of World War II surprised you most? Tell us in the comments. See you next time on Just One Quiz.